the Breadbox I am starting with. Probably didn't need to, but I scraped off all the flooring and the paper.
So I always begin a project by choosing what materials and what kind of furniture I want to put into it. So here I am arranging the chairs. Later on, I will be changing those chairs and changing the table a bit. I also end up painting the shelves a little bit lighter blue. Let's see, there's a little mixer I'm going to use. I had just showed the front of the stove as well. There's a hanging plant. So I'm kind of getting an idea of my color scheme, mostly pastel with little pops of red, but the chairs have too much red. So I'm going to be changing those, I think. There's some tiles, little Coke bottles. And I first started by cutting a piece of foam to represent the back door, or actually the door, the entrance. This is the floor, and I drew some diagonal lines on it to use as guides. These are tiles that I'm going to be gluing to the floor. There, I've got 5 in a row. The ones with X's I'm going to be removing. And here they are glued down. And so I just followed my guidelines, glued down all of the tiles that are going to end up being white. I put some wax paper on those and then put some heavy books on top just to kind of get that really, want to make sure it dries completely flat. After that, I went through that process again, added the tiles around the border, and then glued those. Then when it was all dry, I spray painted it. And so you can see all those cream tiles are glued in. This set of tiles will be light blue, like a robin's egg blue. And there's the floor after I painted the blue tiles.
Okay, step 1 is going to be gluing this pre-cut, well, not pre-cut, I cut it, this foam that I previously cut. I'm going to be gluing it back here because that's going to represent the entrance to the room. And I'm going to have a photo back there, but I don't have the photo yet, so I'm going to put it in after the fact, which is probably not the best idea, but I'll just cut it really exact. Should be fine. Okay, now I'm going to glue the floor down with tacky glue. So here I've just dry fit the floor in. It's not glued down yet. I just wanted to make sure that the foam entryway fit around the floor perfectly. Also, I have completed my grout work on the floor. It does not look perfect, but I actually like that because if it looked totally perfect, then it might as well just be a piece of flooring paper I bought and just sealed. This is actually individual tiles cut out, sealed, well, painted, then sealed, then grouted. So there's little imperfections, but I like that. I think it makes it look more real. These cutouts here are going to have shelves in just a few moments.
I always paint the edges of what will become the walls a color that matches the wallpaper. I also paint the corners the same color as the wallpaper. There's the paper I'm going to use. And you can see I try to match that color as exactly as I could.
Okay. Now the side wall. Okay, so I want my oven to be 3 inches high, 2.5 inches wide, and 2 inches deep. I'm going to use this metal piece for the front, and I'm going to cut a piece of wood that's 3 inches high and 2 inches wide that I can then center this in. For the front, I'm going to use 1/32 of an inch thick basswood. And the main reason is that it'll be really easy to cut through and to lay this in really nicely. Okay, out of here. Yes, I'd say that looks pretty good. It's almost a little too wide. This is going to be the piece that goes on top that's going to have the burners. And actually, I think that will be good because I don't want it to be much thinner than that. Yeah, I think it just looks big right here when it's by itself, but when it's all attached, I do think it'll look okay. So it kind of goes up a little bit right here. And I want to cut a hole in the center of this so I can inset this in nicely and make the edge flush with the wood. It's going to be roughly 1 3/4 of an inch by 2 inches here. Fastest way to find my center is by making an X with my ruler. I always use a clear ruler because it's so much faster. You don't have to measure as much. So I want 2 inches high, so basically 1 inch above this point, 1 inch below this point. When I say point, I mean the center of my X. Okay, so I just calculated that for the sides, in order to get the oven piece to inset, I'm going to need to trim off 3/8 of an inch from each side. With my clear ruler, it's extremely easy to do that. 3/8. And 3/8. Let's see here. Always wise to cut against the grain first so that the wood doesn't, so that the cut doesn't keep going and then split past where you don't want to split anymore. Here, boop. Alrighty, so how does this fit? Can I just inset it in? So yes and no because of these little bits on the top. Okay, I realized, don't know why it took me so long, that this is the front. Hello, this is the front. See the knobs? Okay, this is the back. So what I need to account for is this rectangle up here. So I just estimated with my eye and kind of drew a little rectangle there. I didn't measure anything here. I'm just using my clear ruler to kind of guide me. Since I'm on the edge of the wood, I don't want to dip like that, so I'm going to stick this piece here so that my so that my ruler is flat against, or is I guess I should say parallel to my work surface. Okay, it's flush. Of course, it's too high now. I'm not in love with that, but I'm not really going to start over. So here we go. But yeah, if you look through the other side, it's real nice. I could probably get a little more room here and here. So my wood split, but I realized it doesn't matter much actually. On an actual stove, the door doesn't go, like the hinges aren't on the floor, you know, at least not on my actual oven, and then the knobs are right near the very top. So actually I do think this is going to be fine. I do have a little split here because I wasn't careful enough and I'm working with very thin wood, but I do think I can patch that. I just used a little tacky glue, which I find works just fine on wood most of the time. I'm just going to glue it there and just let it sit for a little bit. Okay, so let's do the stove top. So I want that to be 2.5 inches wide and 2 inches deep. Perfect. And then I'm going to cut this to a width of 2 inches. I can't say enough how much I recommend using a clear ruler. Everyone says use a metal ruler, which is great for cutting, but if you get a nice, good quality, thick, clear ruler and you just work slowly, I just think it's so beneficial. You don't have to make as many pencil marks. I'm going to compare it to this because I want them to be exactly, yeah, that looks pretty good. So, okay, so this is my stovetop here. And this is going to have a piece, the burner, the plates that cover the burners are elsewhere. I'm going to paint those separately, so I'd set them aside someplace and I have to find them again. Let's see. Okay, so those are going to be inset. I figure I'll put the handles on the right since most people are right-handed. Sorry, left-handers. Let's see here. So I'm just eyeballing this to center it because if I'm off a tiny bit, I just don't think it's going to be detectable.
Okay, and then flipping over, I do want it to inset, so you can see that it's probably about 1/8 of an inch inside is where I actually want to cut. A little bigger than that and a little... That's nice and flush. This is also going to be the thinner wood. So now I have this piece with the oven front, and then this piece is going to go right on top like that. Now I just have to make the sides, the back, and the bottom, all of which are going to be a lot easier because I don't have to cut any holes. Okay, just going to cut some support pieces. I'll show in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to want this piece here to sit right on top of this. But there's no way to really glue that because it's so thin, so easiest way, let's see, I actually want this to be on the inside. So what I'm gonna do, just glue some block pieces here so that I'll have some support in a minute. Let's flip that so it's like a nice flush. This way I'll have something to glue the top to when I get to that point. Make sure that's flush. Okay, we're gonna set that over there. Okay, so now let's make a back piece. The back piece should just mirror the front piece. This I can use slightly thicker wood because it's really thin. Because I'm not cutting a rectangle inside it, so it'll be a lot more stable. Let's see. That could probably be my bottom piece. I'll set that aside. Okay, so now I'm using a jig to glue my top. See, that's going to be the stove top with the inset burners. And then that's the front. And at this point, I can work on getting the sides done. This is going to be my sink. Here's the stove. Still needs a couple things. Needs a handle on the front. Needs the burner covers up on top, but I've left the back open. I'll probably seal that up for stability, but I have tape under there so that I don't get drips going down into those holes, although I suppose it doesn't really matter because it'd be on the inside. I wound up using Aleene's tacky glue to attach the metal pieces onto the wood. I had tried super glue and that did not work at all. So tacky glue turned out to be good for that. Okay, skipping ahead slightly. Just kidding, skipping all the way ahead because now it's done. So first thing is the stove. I spray painted the whole thing pink, then added the burners and the handle and so forth. I had painted those with, I think I used nail polish actually. Here's the completed fridge, which I did not talk about earlier, but it's made out of foam, completely out of foam, and then just spray painted. I used like thin foam for the front and then thicker foam for the insides. And here we've got our shelves. Those were originally kind of an electric blue, and I repainted them to make them like a robin's egg blue and put paper inside, like kind of have a little polka dot theme going on. A lot of mint and pink. The chairs are my pride and joy. I'll talk more about those later. Those were the most frustrating thing, and those took so long. I added some newspapers on the bottom left because it's supposed to be like the late 50s, and then that telephone on the left is pretty cool. It was a Princess phone keychain that I harvested. Here's another shot of the fridge and then the whole project. The other thing that I really love is that doorway. Here it is lit up. That light works over the dining room table. Yeah, so getting back to the doorway, I added actual wood trim around the windows to make it more 3D. Like there's little brown trim around the windows, and then of course there's actual light blue like panes on the door. And then I cut some holes in that window, and you see that little light fixture back there. That's not a real light fixture. That's just some jewelry findings over a hole in the back, and I've got a light shining through it. This window too, I used a little like a vellum kind of scene. I'll show more about that later, just to show that there's something actually behind there. Like, oh, look, there's an outside beyond this. So these I found at Joann Fabric. And here I am holding it up to the light. These are just so cool. When I saw these, I thought these would be so great outside dollhouse windows. Here's the back, just to kind of show you all the holes that I had punched through it so that I could get some light shining through. This cart I made with just some wood. I found these pre-cut kind of oval shapes and then just some square dowels. And there's little tiny casters on the bottom. To make the phone cord, I just wrapped some jewelry wire around a really small stick and then made a coil and then spray painted it pink and super glued it on. Getting back to the chairs, so I had those red chairs and I wanted to make them look more like this chair that I found online. I wanted it two-tone, blue and white with white piping. The piping was a big deal back then. It seems like all the chairs had it. So I unwrapped some real telephone cord. It had like a red wire, a white wire, and I think a yellow wire or something inside it. And I ripped out all the white wire and I used that for the piping on my chairs. This kind of tabletop is called cracked ice. So I believe this is the image I looked at when I kind of faux painted my table. I just used gray, silver, and white in different layers. Here's a photo of my chairs. Again, I found the turquoise vinyl and the white vinyl at Joann Fabric. And then you can see the white actual telephone wire I used for the piping. I'm not going to lie, I'm super proud of these chairs. These chairs and the tile work. I have a video about how to lay tile. I have an example on a fireplace that I'd recommend. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe for more.